Now, your LGAs, your local government areas in New Zealand, that would simply be, we've got about 70 cities and towns of 5,000 or more people. What would you say are some of the keys that you've seen that are bringing these groups together or enabling them to work together? What can happen is that as we lead something and as we pioneer in unity in one place, we obviously feel very pleased with what's happening and we learn things and feel we've got a story to tell and something to share. And that can sometimes mean that we've got our back to the wider picture. So how do you get groups working together? And also, what would you say are the benefits or the reasons why that's important, presuming that to be important in the question? Yeah.
You mean different groups in the same city or across the
nation? Yeah, like you're saying, 15 LGAs or something we're getting together, in the Brisbane area or something, with the pastors groups that are within them. So what are some keys to getting groups cross-pollinating, I think is a term we'd understand in our culture, and connecting, building those bridges?
Yeah, look, that's probably not an easy to answer. I learn a lot from our British friends. Rick and I have just been there, and the needs in their cities, their bigger cities, are huge, probably, at least outwardly, greater than the needs in our cities. I mean, every city and town got a lot more needs than we realise, but there's huge. All the social services are looked after by local councils, not by Westminster. And literally, there's the funds for social services drying up. So the church has seen the huge needs, and the local mayors are seeing the church could well be one of the greatest providers of social services if it was coordinated and collaborative. And so in many ways, the unity has really been enhanced across at least 150, 60 cities in England now, because they've seen the greater needs of the city. And I think, N.T. Wright, my favorite theologian, said good theology should be shaped by the meeting of needs, or could be shaped, and not always. And, because he points out that Paul wrote every letter meeting some need, not always negative. I mean, Ephesians is a positive book, but Galatians was meeting a need. And so, and we draw a lot of theology, often too objective, but the truth is there's a subjective need behind things that Paul was trying to say. And so the needs of our cities, Jesus he hears the cry of pain. And the church has got to start to learn to hear what Jesus hears in our city. I think we hear each other at times. We're not even really good at that. But do we hear the pain in the city? Do we hear the cry that's rising up from the oppression of the prostitutes, or the domestic violence cases, or somebody lying in their vomits in the gutter after a tough night out on drugs or grog or something? Are we hearing the cry of God, the cry of the pain? Because Jesus hears it and he's out there ministering to it. Are we going to follow him to that point? So the needs are a big issue. And then secondly, that becomes more the objective thing. When are we going to learn to just read the Bible and obey it? I mean, it's not rocket science. John 17 is not rocket science. Unity and diversity is the nature of the Trinity. If we don't reflect Trinitarian love and Trinitarian action in our cities, we're not heavenizing our cities, which is the gospel of the kingdom, to heavenize our cities. So just read the Bible. It's kind of a bit of a moot point for me, because I don't think modern evangelicals we read the Bible through old lens, and we're partaking old manna. God's got a lot of fresh stuff in his word for us, for this generation. Yeah.
Amazing. Meeting the needs of the city here in New Zealand, help projects coming up, and there's a great pilot program that Amy Meyer's behind going on in East Auckland, and that's powerful. Te Hahi would be another New Zealand example of that, whereas in Australia, I think you're probably well ahead of us. So we've got stuff to learn. Now,